Welcome back to PRS. It's my great pleasure to introduce Shri Siddhesh Kadam. He's the chairman of the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board in India. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So we also have a plastics recycling show in India where you were the keynote speaker
Right.
last year. It was a fantastic address. Now you are in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, in Europe. How do the shows compare and what is it like to be here?
It's a privilege to be here in the PRS Europe session, and I believe there are 511 participants in the show. So that's mind-boggling number what I got to know. But last year, as you said, that a similar PRS had one in Mumbai as well. And when I first went for the show in Mumbai, I was completely bamboozled. The kind of support or kind of interest people have in the recycling industry. But after coming here in Amsterdam, I see the world scale. Yeah, so that's an important aspect. And but going ahead, I also saw a lot of Indian recyclers being part of the European industry. So that's a good sign for India as well, because technology, we are learning a lot from the European recyclers, and also we are getting a lot of technology from the European industry as well. And as you know, that India is a growing country, so no matter how much we recycle, it's still going to be less. So as a country, there's a lot learning from us. Yeah.
And as a country as well, you are really driving up demand for recycled PET, for example. We've heard recently that the mandate for food contact, recycled content in rigid packaging will now be 30% up to 40%.
Right.
That is
Right.
a lot. It's much more than we have here in Europe as well, in the short term at
Right.
least. So the question is, how is the market adapting to that new mandate in India, and
Yeah.
how do you see it developing in the coming years?
Right. So as your question is, how is market adapting to that? Market is welcoming that. If you talk to a lot of pet producers, be it any of the beverage partners as well, they don't want to use virgin plastic. They want to use rPET, but the market is not there for rPET. The virgin plastic is cheaper. In name of rPET, you get a lot of virgin plastic. So to curb that. But to your original question, how is market adapting? Market is welcoming that. They in fact welcome to that extent that we have started with 30 to 40%. In few years down the line, that percentage will increase. Why? Because there is availability of rPET in India and subcontinent. Because we as India, we consume around 40 million tons of plastic. That's a lot. That's a lot, yeah. So there is market for rPET. So the producers, they are more than happy to use rPET rather than using a virgin plastic, because somewhere the producers as well, they understand the responsibility towards sustainability, not just in regards to the country as a whole, but as a global citizen, as a global producer, they have their responsibilities towards the global sustainability model as well. So the producers are more than happy and welcome for this new restrictions what have come in.
And when the target was announced from 30 to 40% and perhaps even more in the
Yep.
future, it was quite a fast change. So I want to ask you about compliance. How is the government in India going to make sure that recyclers are actually incorporating, and brands of course, this amount of recycled content in their package to make sure that the targets are actually being met?
Yeah. Actually in India it's quite easy, because every recycle is registered through APR regime, and through APR there is goods and service tax. So every EPR or every producer has to register with goods and service tax. No good cannot be transported from one end to another end without paying goods or service tax. So we correlate that with the GST. That's what we call goods and services tax. So it's quite easy for us to regulate or to monitor them, whether are they actually complying to the new norms or they are not. Because as I said, the virgin plastic, the goods and service tax is paid, yes, but for the rPET as well, goods and service tax is paid. So all we have to do is calculate the goods and service tax, which is a data which is easily available as a government body, because that's the data is there with us. So all we have to do is correlate that data with the quantity of rPET. Yeah, that's quite easy. But again, I'll go to the previous question. The producers are more than happy to comply with the current norms, which is like 30 to 40%, and they're more than happy that if we increase this percentage as well, to comply with that as well. Because as I said, no producer wants their PET bottle to be thrown out in the ocean or in the rivers or in the nalas. Everybody is looking forward that we recycle that, and because now in recent times our PET can be utilized in the food grade as well. So that's a big boost to the economy as well in the recycling market. Yeah.
And now, of course, we're also seeing a lot of capacity extension, specifically for rePET in India. But we also hear from some recyclers that it's really important to have policy certainty, so to make sure that there is no delay in meeting these targets. For example, before it was possible to allow for the target to be met in the next 3 years, for example. So this was often cited by recyclers in India as a concern. What would you tell to them in terms of policy certainty for capacity installation and expansion in the country?
I think overall the number of recyclers back home in India have increased. Compare that to Europe, the number has decreased. Why? Because the regulations there in India and the implementation of regulations is also happening in India. That is why the confidence is there within the recycling community that yes, as a government, as a policymaker, as a governance, we want to support the recycling industry, because it's as simple as that. The more they recycle, there'll be more trash lying on the road. So that's the simple logic for the government as well. There'll be no trash on the road, on the ocean, in the rivers, in the nalas, anywhere, if there are more recycling units happening around, popping around. Yeah, so that's a simple logic.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us here at the
Thanks for having
Sustainable
me.
Plastics Studio at PRS.
Thank you.
Thank you.